More adventures, yes, the CNC. We're still on the CNC, but I really want to take you guys along with this adventure, getting the new CNC setup. Welcome back to my shop and the channel and the continuation of setting up the CNC. I hope it will be done by now, but apparently I'm going to be making some dramatic changes. So more on that a little bit. But right now I'm doing a preliminary tramming on it. Well, tramming is when you want to set the CNC so that the axis of the spindle is perpendicular to the work surface, spoil board, whatever you're doing on the table itself. And to that end, with my old CNC, I took a bar, welded a 1/4-inch rod on the end of it, drilled a hole, and mounted a dial indicator. This is 1 to 100 thousandths on each revolution. And it fits right into the chuck, because I've got a 1/4-inch chuck on this spindle right now. So let's do that, get that tightened up a little bit. I only have to do this finger tight. I don't have to crank it down with a wrench. So the glass, if you can see it in camera, yeah, this is a piece of 3/16, 1/4-inch, whatever, tempered glass. And the reason I'm using this is because the tempered glass this size is extremely flat. Don't use glass panes that you put in windows. They look like they're really, really flat, but they're not. Run a dial indicator around those and they will go wibbly wobbly. So what I'm doing now is I'm just doing a preliminary tram. I haven't done any adjustments. I haven't surfaced the tables at all. Done nothing. I'm just going to give this a shot and see what we got for beginnings. Okay, so let's do the nod. And this direction is nod. Yeah, I don't know, just nod. So I'm going to come out to the front and I'm going to set this dial indicator to 0. Of course, I have to walk around the back. So that is on 0 right now. And if I spin it around gently without wobbling it at all, and I step around to the back and look at what I got, that's 10 thousandths out, only 10 thousandths, which is acceptable. Now let's do the right to left. So come back over here, set the needle to 0 again. Come on, get into 0. There we go. And I'll turn it around, spin it around. And that is also 10 thousandths out. So I'm 10 thousandths out this way. I'm 10 thousandths out this way. So this has to go this way a little bit, and the knot has to go back a little bit. Now here's how you adjust it in this thing. I found this out the hard way. You loosen screws here, and you can just move the mount for the spindle a little bit. And then the screws on the ends of the gantry, there's 4 screws on the end of the gantry. You loosen those up, leaving one snug, and you can actually tap slightly, and the gantry can move a few thou either way, this way, giving you as precise as you want to be. Now you can get this down to machine, milling machine levels if you want, but I'm not going to be doing wood in this thing. I'm just going to be doing metal. All right, so that's a preliminary. Next trick is to get the official spoil board on here, mill it flat, and then do another tram and make the adjustments then. So let me get this out of here. Yeah, I got to bring the head up. Thank you. Put that aside. Now, the spindle. It's a nice little spindle. It's 300 watt. I'm not really happy with it. It cuts. It's 10,000 RPM, and I want more. I think I'm getting vibration from the spindle, even though the bearings feel great. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put on what I had on my old CNC machine. I'm going to replace it with my DeWalt DPW611 router, which I used in the previous CNC, and it has a precision ER collet on it that I got from Bits and Things, whatever. I'll link in the description where I got this collet. They do collets for a variety of routers. I also have a collet like this, an ER collet in my router table too for precision. I started as a machinist years ago, and you know how that is. So that's going in next. What do I need to do to do that? Well, what came with it by default was the mounting bracket for the Makita for reasons. Guess I like Makita. Well, I ordered, and it arrived today, the mounting bracket for DeWalt. See, this goes, fits nice and snug, and then you tighten it up. So the first thing I have to do is remove this spindle and put this bracket in place and then mount the router. Then I have plans for the power that goes to the spindle, and I'll give you a little more detail in a bit. But first things, let's get this off of here and do that. And I use my tool kit that came with it. And there we go. Now, let's talk about power. So this is a nice long cord that comes with the router. I have two choices. I can run it up over the back with the dust collector hose, which we'll get to in a second, or I can, because it's too thick, I can't put it in the drag chain. I could zip tie it around the drag chain like this, go down, and then underneath this side. Two choices. Let's do an initial kind of quick trim to see where we are with this. Now, when I did this, I mounted it in such a way, the way I use it is I'm standing mostly over here, so the lock button you can't see on camera is for the spindle. The router spindle is over on this side. So let's bring that down. Now, for some reason, when I turn on the stepper motors, my microphone dims down, but don't worry about it. Go to precise. Okay. So that is at 0. Let's see. Let's do the this side, the side to side first. Okay, there's 0. Spin it around, and it's, well, from here to here, it's pretty much 0 each way. Now let's do the. I lucked out. So let's do this. Front to back, zeroed. I got to walk around and look at it, of course. And that's about 50 thousandths off. Adjustable, of course. So up we go. All right, that's out. Okay, this also involves different dust collection, and I ordered the dust collection hood for this particular router, which can go anywhere like this. It can't go over here, obviously, because of the button for the spindle, but it can go anywhere. There you go. So I'll put it here for now. That cord's in the way, so I'll put it here for now. And magnets, of course. And there's the dust collection and the hose over the top. And there's my dust collection. Like I said, I can run this cord now over this hose if I want to get down to what's coming up. I'm going to show you in a minute. If you can hear that, that's my trash collector guys are here. Now, this router, as I said, has an ER collet on it. And I'm going to link in the description. And you have to use this little wrenchy thing here to get the to tighten and loosen the collet. So there we are. So what I'm going to do with this beautiful piece of DC power I've got here, well, what I'm going to do is like I did with my previous one, I built a switch box. That's when I turn on, start to run a job, DC power comes to this, and it can go to a switch box which will turn on the router and the dust collection simultaneously. So more detail on that later in the video, but here's the box I built. There's a video, I'll leave a link in the description of me building the box for the previous CNC. So let me bring it up close. This is where the power is going to connect for the DC here to switch. And then for AC power to the plug, I put in one of these computer style thingies, and it just plugs in there. And that way, I can take this box and use it for other things if I want. So that's the box. I'll talk about the box in a bit. I also measured the RPM for each of the numbers on the router, because the router has a rheostat for RPM, but there are 1 through 6 numbers on there. And I have a little RPM measuring tool. And you put a piece of this silver tape on the item you want to measure and just point it at the part that's spinning, and it gives you an RPM. So I've got RPM from setting 1 to setting 6. So this is 48 volts when it's at full power, highest speed for the spindle. That's too much for what I'm going to show you in a minute. So I put a multimeter on here, ran it, and played with the dial, and found that to get below that, which I need to be below 32 volts DC, you just go about a half to 1/3 of full, and it gives you the voltage to run the trigger. So that's where I am right now. So let me show you how the box is going together to do that triggering thing that I'm going to do with the trigger. You used to be able to go on a Radio Shack and get these project boxes all the time. Had to get one off of Amazon. Although I found there's a Radio Shack about 40 minutes away from us. It's a franchise. It's still in business, but it may be closing soon because the owner has passed away. So this is the power thing here for the DC power. Is one of these plugs that you can get off of Amazon or an electronics store, and it's very much like a computer, exactly like a computer power cord, charger cord, and plugs in like that. And these plugs that you need for the AC power are readily available. And then also, if you want to have if you want to have no solder joints on your cord, you can get these kind of plugs. It's the same thing. It screws in place, and it has, it goes into the in the box here, and this goes on the end of your cord, and you untake off this and plastic cover, and you can solder your wires to that. I decided not to use this kind. So what have we got here? Obviously, I've got an AC outlet here, DC trigger voltage, AC in. So when I open the box up, what I have here is, and I'll bring it closer to the camera, is an electronic relay. It is 3 to 32 volts DC for the trigger voltage, and 24 to 280 volts AC for the load. And all you're doing is interrupting the hot side of the circuit with the relay. And then the trigger voltage comes in through the plug there and goes onto the trigger side of the of the relay. And then I take the load side or hot wire, cut it in two, put one side to one terminal, one side to the other terminal on the AC side. So until that trigger voltage goes, we have no power to this outlet. So that's my little trigger box. And like I said, I'll put a link in the description to the one I built for my previous CNC. Now that I have the electronic trigger to trigger the router and the dust collection, the switch I have out front, which was originally to trigger turn on the dust collection, now is the master power for the controller. Little story about the controller. So I had what I thought were issues with the controller. And so SaintSmart sent me a new controller. Great. Put that in, and it would freeze and jog. Just stop. And I had to reboot everything and get it working again. Then it would freeze and jog, and none of the buttons would work in G-Center. So I said, well, what the heck? I took the old controller, put it back in, and everything is working absolutely fine now. Go figure. I don't know. So this is now going to turn on the master power for the controller instead of having to reach around to the switch in the back. The DC cord here, which is going to trigger the box I showed you, I'm going to run this cable, this wire through the the drag chain and down into the box that's going to run all that stuff, turn on the router and turn on the dust collection. Like I said, I'm debating what I want to do with this. I could run it down the dust collection, like I said, or I could zip tie it to the inside of the drag chain. I don't know. I'll see. We'll see. So everything seems to be working now. I'm ready to finish up all the wiring, which doesn't have to be on camera, blah, blah, blah. And so until next time, make great things out of wood and play with your CNC. Later.